frictionless commerce? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to the market? Why is it so important?
Frictionless commerce is a state, and the state that we think commerce is moving towards, and has been for decades, really. Going back to, the internet started this all, and we got into e-commerce, and e-commerce is evolving into frictionless commerce, which is really about, getting what you want, when you want it, how you want it, and where you want it. And this is increasingly, it's more than just omni-channel. It's more than e-commerce. It's really about a state in the future where data flows so freely, and we're talking like census level data that allows us to figure out what you really want and how to get it to you.
It's kind of interesting, sort of the dichotomy. If you think about the user experience, the end user, the end consumer should see and feel almost nothing, right? But meanwhile, the easier it is for them, the more work you got to do behind the scenes.
For it to be seamless, there's a lot of things that have to go right. And I think we all have our experiences today that we can point to where it was anything but seamless.
Right.
And, you still get the product you want, but your feeling towards the brand is not the same when you go through one of those friction-full experiences. So it's really about how do we get rid of that friction? How do we let you enjoy the brands that you love? And for us, that's a big part of this too, right? It's making sure that the playing field is level, because there are a lot of very big players in the market that are accelerating frictionless. And I think many of our customers and partners don't realize this isn't just about, a pretty front end. It's all that hard work in the supply chain, the data in behind. There's some folks that are making huge inroads, and it's going to be hard to catch them. And part of our job is to make sure that playing field stays level, so the brands that we love are still a choice a decade from now.
When you talk to some of these brands, and you talk at a high level, how do you start to articulate the value of what Pivotree can bring?
Where we like to start these conversations is, let's talk about your current process. Let's talk about your current customer journey. Let's look at where the friction is, and let's figure out how that's impacting your brand, the economics, and let's start picking off opportunities and move you in an evolutionary way forward. And you'll find with a lot of our technology and the pieces we're building, you don't have to buy everything all at once. You can buy it modularly, and very much this microservices approach. It's not doing these big multi-million-dollar, multi-year initiatives. It starts showing the return quicker.
Fix a few things, but let them realize Pivotree's got a lot more to offer.
Help them not increase their technical debt as they fix things. Because quite often what happens is you start fixing a problem, you create a new problem. And this is really, our objective is, as we're helping you solve today's problems, let's do it inside a framework that looks to frictionless in the future.
It's interesting, if you think about consumers now, just regular folks outside of the business, they've heard about supply chain all of a sudden over the last, they heard about technical debt with some of the issues going on with the airlines and so on. So a lot of this nomenclature that we thought was really kind of inside baseball shop talk is becoming the vernacular in that.
Even the consumer hears about it, understands that experience is a supply chain experience they're having. It's a negative one. And candidly, it's why we've built the business the way we built it. We participate, and we're going to lead in all three of these categories in the long term of commerce, supply chain, and data. And the practical reality is, data we don't do for data's sake. Data feeds commerce and supply chain systems. So the fact we have expertise in the consumption of that data in each of those endpoints allows us actually to be better with the data. It helps our customers not make more technical debt in their technology investments, because we know the destination for this data. So we really help them solve the business problem, not the technology problem.
And there's a data problem underneath all of it, right? I mean, talking about technical or data debt, I don't know if that's a term yet, but people are sitting on all this legacy data.
If you had a challenge with your commerce system, it usually started with your data. So 10 out of 10 times our customers would have a data problem of some kind. You can't solve all of them all at once, but really what we're trying to create is data as a currency. How do we help automate your data pipeline, which allows you to ingest that data, push it to wherever it needs to get to, and consume it? And frankly, in the long term, we believe we're going to get to that state where you're not moving data from one structured application to another structured application. With the help of machine learning and AI, I mean, you're going to be dealing with much larger, unstructured data sets and turning them into currency a lot faster.
You start the right way with data, we're going to end up in the right place. But most people focus on where data ends up rather than where it starts.
Exactly.
No, you don't do this alone. I mean, Pivotree's got a pretty incredible ecosystem of partners. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Our firm belief is you cannot possibly own all the elements. There's not going to be one software vendor is going to have every aspect of the commercial experience nailed. So it's always going to be an ecosystem. There's always another innovator who comes along and does something differently. And so part of our challenge and our job is to make it easy or easier for our customers to adopt those technologies. So where the relationship with our partners is absolutely critical is in the work before you start working for the customer. How do you establish, pre-connections, accelerators? We like to work with the best of breed technologies, but pre-assemble them and pre-configure them so that our customers aren't spending a fortune on the things they shouldn't be spending a fortune on, like setup.
What kind of brand, if they're listening to this, should think about, okay, Pivotree can come and help?
I think the best way to think about our customers are there some of your favorite brands, whether it's B2B or B2C, some of your favorite brands, and they have a history. Most of our customers have a long history of going to market, which means they've got multiple channels, they've got multiple pieces of technology, they often have a lot of technical debt. So if they're large, they're complicated, and if they have a lot of data, which usually stems from having a lot of SKUs to manage, then that usually makes for a good target market for us.
Sounds like the typical enterprise to me. I mean, if the enterprises have that kind of problem, multiple systems, disparate data, lack of standards, all this tech debt, you can walk in almost any widget maker and find some sense of that situation.
There's some folks out there that are accelerating. They're growing rapidly. Their brands have taken off. And we've won a couple of those recently, and they become complicated because they have to move quickly, and they need to establish all of those component infrastructure elements. And so when you're really trying to move quickly to keep up in a multi-channel, complex, large data set environment, they also make good customers.
What words of advice would you give to kind of the typical CEO out there in a brand that you're kind of targeting?
The best advice I can give them is it's going to be challenging, but it's exciting to be on the journey towards frictionless. And you will benefit not just your company, but your customers and their life. This is a high impact opportunity to change the way people engage with your brand. It's going to be a long road, so pick the right partners, because again, this isn't a one and done exercise, and invest for the long term. This is also not a short, quick fix. This is going to be a decade of adapting relentlessly.
You still got to do the work.
We got to do the work.
There's no shortcuts in this.
No.
Great to see you again.
Hey, thanks very much.